Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the right time. All right, coming up on this episode, we'll talk about Shohei Ohtani, whether, this will actually make you watch baseball. I had to look up his first name before we started this. Also, great observations from Pat Riley on LeBron James and advice from DJ Mike Hitman. But first, your man Ben Simmons. Now, I want to talk about Ben Simmons, and I want to try to find a way to talk about Ben Simmons without me, myself, winding up in a situation where I start ranting and raving about that damn process. This is an interesting thing here with the Sixers. They have gotten good. They are good for the league. We need one of those young up-and-coming teams. We had the Thunder be that one for a while that had the names on it. You think Shaq and Penny back in the day. The league is better by having the young, fresh faces that have a chance to take over the league. The problem was the Sixers were willing to embarrass themselves in order to get to this point, but the embarrassment is now over, and now they have Ben Simmons and they have Joel Embiid, and I guess they got Markelle Fultz. He's back playing and apparently shooting jumpers like a regular basketball player and everything. This is fantastic. Ben Simmons is every bit as cold as they told us that Ben Simmons was. And it was fair to ask some questions when he came out of college because he was so cold, but his team was not, and he was, I guess, some kind of point guard. So I got where people were coming from. They were not sure this Ben Simmons thing was going to pan out. The Sixers are in the midst of a 14-game winning streak where I believe that Ben Simmons is averaging a full-on triple-double in the course of that. He has clearly been the best rookie this year, at least according to my eyes. Donovan Mitchell is playing very well in Utah, but let's be honest, y'all ain't watching Utah play no games. You want to have something happen and nobody really know it went on, go ahead and do it in the Mountain Time Zone. I don't make the rules. That's just the way this goes, right? But he's over there. He's apparently played very well. And unlike Ben Simmons, he was not on the NBA roster last year, but the rules say that Ben Simmons can be voted Rookie of the Year. All right, cool. Now, Ben Simmons here is talking to our buddy Chris Haynes of ESPN, and Ben Simmons is asked about being the Rookie of the Year and whether he is the Rookie of the Year. Check it out.
Pretty much, it's been a two-man Rookie of the Year race all throughout the season. Yourself, yourself, and then the Utah Jazz rookie Donovan Mitchell. When you hear those comparisons to those two, what do you think about? What do you say to that?
I don't really listen to comparisons. I don't think anybody you can compare, people and players and whatever it is, but at the same time, everybody's their own player.
Who's the Rookie of the Year this year?
Who would I pick?
Who would you pick?
Me, for
you
sure.
Pick you?
100%.
Why so over the competition?
I think I've just been playing, solid all year. If you look at the numbers, you'll see.
He is right. He has certainly been playing solidly all year long, right? So I don't know, though, if saying I should be Rookie of the Year because I've been playing solid all year is enough to make you the Rookie of the Year. But Ben Simmons is absolutely certain that he is the Rookie of the Year. And listen to this here when Ben Simmons explains how much time he has spent surveying the competition.
What other rookies have caught your eye this year?
None.
Sorry, let's stop and take a moment to appreciate what Ben Simmons has just told us. Ben Simmons knows that he is the Rookie of the Year. If you look at the numbers, you can tell. Ben Simmons is then asked, well, how much do you watch of the other rookies? Ben Simmons is like, I don't watch them. I watch the greats. I watch the guys I'm trying to get like. I don't watch these rookies. So, for those scoring at home, Ben Simmons is sure that he is the Rookie of the Year without actually watching any of the rookies. He has just already made the decision, just got in the league, and it's like, nah, I'm out here people LeBron. I'm out here with G's also of my caliber. Like Simmons is like, yeah, we're both rookies right now. Like me and all these cats, we're rookies at the same time, but next year we ain't gonna be the same. Oh, no. Don't you worry. You won't be talking about me with these cats for very long. And I love this. Because here's the thing about the NBA. The guys are a lot more polished now than they used to be. They know a lot more of the right answers. Now, they still give you cute and quirky quotes from time to time, but in the end, it's a league full of overwhelmingly nice young men. Ben Simmons is a jerk, and I don't mean that he is a jerk as an insult. We all have friends who are jerks, and you love them all the same, and then often part of the reason why you love them is because they are, in fact, jerks. Ben Simmons is that jerk, and the type of jerk I mean is don't ask Ben Simmons a question if you do not want his answer. Maybe this is a product of him being from Australia. and they got different attitudes about this stuff. I'll be honest with you. I don't know very much about like how they actually kick it and get down from Australia. But from what I can tell from movies and beer commercials, they are very cocksure people. And perhaps that is where Ben Simmons picked up this level of confidence, because while we may be still trying to figure out, or there was a stretch rather, where we were still trying to figure out how good Ben Simmons was, Ben Simmons is like, nope. I'll tell you right now, I'm the bomb. I am already there. And he is. So I ask you this. How long is this Sixers thing going to be cute to some of y'all? Because it is cute right now. Like Embiid, we like the Embiid thing. It's pretty cute. Big guy, tells lots of jokes, sends funny tweets. It's cute. Ben Simmons, the new next superstar. There's a certain adorability that comes from that. And then Markelle Fultz, who went from the number 1 overall pick to Rudy in the course of a season because somehow the dude just forgot how to shoot. So now he's like easily rootable. We want good things to happen to Markelle Fultz. And then they got like other dudes on the team. Robert Covington, Tennessee State, HBCU. I tell you right now, it's a harsh gravel road to go from HBCU to the NBA. That's something you can root for. JJ Redick, we used to hate him back when he was in college. Then he became a pro and you realize now you just really hated Duke. And he looked like Duke to you. Now he's in the league with a big old long tattoo on his arm. It's like that Duke thing never even happened. What's my man's name? Sarge? Dario? I mean, people like Immigrants. American Tail, very popular movie. Problem here is, at least for those of you who find this cute right now, you are not going to find this cute for very long. You are not going to find this cute for very long, because it is not going to be long before you realize a lot of us like Ben Simmons, but I've come to learn in my time in this business, I find the jerks to be kind of endearing. Most of y'all don't find the jerks to be endearing at all. Embiid, all that trolling. I mean, it's going for now. People find it to be chucklesome, but you may have noticed by the end of the year. In fact, when we were still doing the radio, some of y'all might remember this. I got on and I said, look, it's a matter of time before somebody decides they're going to square up with Embiid. And they're like, ain't nobody going to square up with him. He from Africa. He be fighting lions. And I think Embiid told people that he fought a lion once, which I am convinced is just like something Africans tell people because they know you'll believe it. You notice as that year went on, a whole lot more people wanted it with Embiid. They got bored with all that stuff that Embiid has been out here doing. Simmons going to mess around and say something about somebody that you like, and then that's going to wind up being a problem. Then we got the question, how long is it Embiid says something to Simmons that Simmons doesn't like, or Simmons says something to Embiid that he does not like? Because, ask Simmons, which one of y'all is the best player on the team? Forget about that Rookie of the Year talk. Which one of y'all the best player on the team? And then you go ask Embiid, which one of y'all is the best player on the team? Who do you think Simmons is voting for? In fact, I'm almost mad that Embiid played last year. Remember that? Embiid, with the injuries and stuff? I'm almost mad Embiid played last year. Because if Embiid had not played, then he would also be eligible for Rookie of the Year. And then they could ask Ben Simmons, who's the Rookie of the Year? Me. Well, do you watch any of the other rookies? None of them. What about Joel? I mean, only because I have to. Like, that's what this would be. And I feel like we need this. Now, we'll see how long this whole thing stays together with the Sixers. Like, I'm not trying to sow the seeds of discord or anything like that with that roster. I'm just telling you, there's a high jerk quotient at the top of that roster, and there's a high ego quotient at the top of that roster. And we have all watched this happen before, and it's a bit of the roll of the dice on how this ends up going. I have no idea. I also think it's possible that the Sixers could make it to the conference finals in the East. And there's no way that I thought that this was going to happen at the beginning of the year. And please let that happen, because if it does, whoo boy, Ben Simmons is going to be insufferable next year. Just in time for you to dislike him when the fact that he can't shoot jump shots becomes a functional NBA problem. We have Shohei Ohtani. If you guys aren't familiar with Shohei Ohtani, he has just arrived from the great nation of Japan. There were Babe Ruth comparisons because he could pitch and he could hit. Now, to be fair, that's not enough to be a Babe Ruth comparison. No one has ever been better than his competition with the gap that there was between Babe Ruth and everybody else. There's just not. Like, you guys, who's the greatest baseball player of all time? The answer is Babe Ruth. So, say he's like Babe Ruth. I mean, he bears a certain measure of similarity to Babe Ruth. That is the part that I feel like we could say. That being said, a man throws 100 miles an hour on the black. That's what they call it, the black. On the black. Throws 100 miles an hour on the black. He's out here hitting home runs. He is becoming a bit of a phenomenon, so much to the point that you almost forget that we had kind of buried the dude in spring training. My good buddy Bill Plaschke said they need to send him down to the minor leagues, for example. Like, a lot of people are coming back around and they're like, hey, man, this is the greatest player of all time. He could be the greatest player of all time, after we were ready to flush him in spring training. But here's Busta Olney talking about Shohei Ohtani.
I think he's put to rest all those concerns about him in spring training when writers were wondering if he was going to be sent to the minor leagues. Privately, from Mike Trout to Billy Epler, their general manager, Mike Scioscia, they're all saying, look, we believe in this guy's talent. We think he's going to be fine moving forward. And that's what we've seen as soon as the season started. He got settled in.
It's a little early to say that the concerns are put to rest, right? Like, what do they say? This is his first time through the league? Don't we learn the deal the second time through the league?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time that a lot of these hitters are seeing him. Some of them saw him in spring training, but some of them are seeing them for the first time now. They were hitting him in spring training.
Well, he's hitting. That helps, right? 3 homers in 4 games. That is a big part. Now, here's my question. If baseball can't turn this thing into a phenomenon that makes us care, what can they do? What can they do? And I want to be clear, I am not one of those people that says that nobody cares about baseball anymore. That's not true. People care about baseball on a local level. Like, you go look at all the local television ratings for baseball. They are very good. The baseball people are happy with their attendance, but it's not a national topic of conversation as it used to be, right? And what I think is interesting about Ohtani is, if you are pitching at an all-star level and batting at an all-star level, then okay, we're talking about something that we have not seen. Right, we just have not had that, at least not in the lifetime of any of us who are actually watching this stuff. We haven't had that one. That gets me to stand up and pay attention. The other thing that gets me to stand up and pay attention about him is he is reminiscent of an old school baseball player in the sense that he's 6'3", 190 pounds. Like, the dudes that are out here hitting home runs these days are giant, massive physical specimens. This seems to be more like when the old heads talk about baseball, got quick wrists. He got that pop in his wrist, all that stuff. Like, you go back and look at the numbers of the old baseball players, the ones that were mashing balls out of here. They weren't out here looking like Marvel superheroes. So, there's something cool to me about watching this cat be able to play it as he does. And I think there's also an added component when it's a Japanese player, because when the Japanese players come, Japan comes with them, right? So they're showing up and they already have a star caliber media focus that's put on them, and all the people that are paying attention, that seems to make everything seem a bit bigger, and you don't really get to talk to him because I'm imagining he's dealing with people through an interpreter, so there's almost a certain distance that comes from it. But we got to pay attention to this. I'm here. It would help if he was playing in a time zone more amenable to those of us who got to get up and go to work on the East. But I'm here to pay attention to what it is that he has going. Part of what makes this interesting to me, though, without a couple of exceptions, Dontrell Willis, I guess, was a phenomenon there for a little while. But the real live baseball phenomenon that we have had are the last 3, counting him, Japanese, Hideo Nomo, Ichiro, when he came over. Just that one person that intrigues you when they got there in this way. It seems to be the Japanese cats. Nobody else really seems to get that level of attention. And Bryce Harper, for example. When Bryce Harper came up, we knew this was going to be a thing, but I think that there's a focus and an intrigue by Ohtani that is not present with Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was a junior in high school. This seems to be a thing that'll make us catch on, and if it is not the thing that'll make us catch on, bruh, it's just not happening. It's just not. If you're giving us something that we literally haven't seen before, not something that someone is doing that is better than we have seen before, something that we have literally never seen before, and we still kind of all right, that's cool, then that doesn't bode well for baseball. Except baseball doesn't care. We got local TV money. We're good. They are totally on some people are all publicity is good publicity. They're no, all money is good money. All they're really concerned with here is the money. Now, with this in mind, speaking of the Angels, if you're Mike Trout, right, you got to be a little bit salty. Don't you? A little bit salty. You could make an argument that all the years that Mike Trout lost the MVP, he should have won. Second in MVP, first, second, first, fourth. He finished fourth in a year where he only played 114 games. Yeah, that's kind of good, right? Mike Trout is... I don't think there's any other player right now that we could say more readily this guy will probably go down as one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Like, not just saying he's going to be in the Hall of Fame and we'll remember him. This is one of the greatest baseball players that we've ever seen, like a potential top 15 type of player. Mike Trout walk in this studio right now. I mean, some people don't like being recognized, and that's cool. But if he wants to be recognized walking in this studio, he better wear a Mike Trout jersey. I highly recommend that. Like, isn't he a dude gay with no neck? Like, doesn't he kind of walk around like he ain't got no neck?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks like the human embodiment of the Michelin Man.
Yeah.
Right? He's just kind of one width throughout his whole body.
Yeah, get a Michelin Man some of that, what they call it, creatine, and then you get Mike Trout. And that's all I got. Like, if you take Mike Trout to the Gold's Gym or to the Equinox, there'd be 8 of those Mike Trout dudes in there. Don't ask me which one of them plays center field for the Angels. I can't do it. I don't have it for you. And I'd be a little bit salty about that if I was Mike Trout. I really, really would. Like, I come in there with Mike Trout like, oh, so what I got? Do I need to start pitching? And don't be surprised if you come to see the Angels play and you sit there at batting practice and then you see Mike Trout in the bullpen trying to get his Q rating up. I can throw the ball 100 miles an hour.
The depressing part about it, too, is we talk about him as if he's like a player in a small market or something. You know, like the small market, you know, Damian Lillard or LaMarcus Aldridge of baseball, but he plays in Los Angeles.
Yes, even if it isn't LA, it's Orange County, but Orange County is huge too. You know? Don't matter. We appreciate you being maybe the greatest baseball player we've ever seen. Hard stop. That's it. That's all he's got. That's the only thing that he's got. Though I do have to say this. Here's one thing Ohtani's got going for him that Mike Trout can't say. Do you realize how much you have to overcome in order to be a free agent who signs with the Anaheim Angels and actually perform? As I've told you guys many times, I have a friend who refers to the Angels as where free agents go to die, because of their terrible track record of free agents going to play for the Angels and just never getting there. Here's the problem. 2 of them have actually died. Like, it's not even an exaggeration when you say this, which is why you can't say it, because it's not an exaggeration. Vladimir Guerrero, that's the only guy I can think of who, as a free agent, went inside in Anaheim and it like worked out okay. Albert Pujols. How's that thing gone with him signing with the Angels? You could go through the decades. If Ohtani manages to be good while being a free agent signed by the Angels, man, put him in the Hall of Fame right now. Yeah, Mike Trout, okay, you doing it for the Angels, but you started with them. That's different. When you pick up your life and go play for them, normally this goes badly. This dude's got 3 home runs in 4 games and is throwing 100 miles an hour on the black. You have my attention, sir. So, Ian Thompson has written a book. Ian Thompson is a writer who covers the NBA. He has written a book. I want to get the title correct for you. The Soul of Basketball, the epic showdown between LeBron, Kobe, Doc, and Dirk that saved the NBA. The book comes out on April 17th, and I am very interested in that just because I can't fully understand what the title is referring to. Anyway, Jackie McMullen apparently has gotten her hands on a copy of that book, and there are some fascinating details here from when LeBron made the decision to go to Miami. Now, I'll be honest, this is a topic I can never get tired of talking about. I don't know when I would ever get tired of talking about LeBron going to Miami. It changed the league. The way that we focus on the NBA and the way the NBA is covered and the way that free agency has now become its own sport in terms of us viewing it in the NBA in a way that it had never been before, it all changed when LeBron went to Miami, right? And as much as we hate this, a lot of people, I don't hate it, but a lot of people hate the spectacle that was around it and everything else. Where we stand right now in the overall health and strength of this league, I feel like we can draw a line in just about every way back to LeBron's decision to go to Miami. Like, it was a paradigm shifting sort of move. But LeBron went, and this is what fascinates me. Pat Riley, where he's one of these guys where if you actually get Pat Riley on the record and start talking, you'll get the world. He just doesn't really talk to anybody. But Pat said that he had talked to Mav and all those guys about what they were planning with the decision, and everything else. And Pat Riley told him, he's like, you guys, got any fear about this? And they're like, fear? Afraid of what? And Riley told him, like, the blowback on this is going to be pretty strong. And LeBron and Mav were like, what are you talking about? It's going to be blowback. Blowback? What blowback? And I admit, I thought like LeBron and Mav did. There's not going to be any blowback. There was blowback. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there was a significant number of blowback. Things were set on fire. It was not what LeBron thought it was going to be, perhaps is the best way for us to put that. Pat Riley said that before they had their little pep rally, all that stuff, that they'd flown charters up to pick LeBron and his people up. And he said the plane got LeBron. He said LeBron got there, and he went to give LeBron a hug, and he said LeBron just slumped. Like, there was just a level of exhaustion that just overcame him at that moment, and he was just done. 'Cause look, one thing we got to remember, LeBron was 25 when this happened. That's it, man. He was 25 years old when this happened. And they were so proud of themselves, and they should have been, right? They pulled off the greatest sports spectacle ever. They were so proud of themselves and what they had accomplished, and it was a flex. The flex was, this is the majesty and magnitude of LeBron James, right? We are going to show you how important LeBron James is. And part of what I think offended people so much about it is, it's not the fact that LeBron did the decision. It's the fact that they watched. Because they could have ignored him, but they couldn't. And the reason they couldn't ignore him is because it was the flex. The flex was so strong and he was such a big deal that, as offended as you might have been by it, you had to watch it because he was every bit as important as he said he was, or as he thought he was at that moment. And they had pulled this off. They had accomplished this. They given money to the Boys and Girls Club. Who could have a problem with that? Everybody. The answer, guys, was everybody. And so he said LeBron just gets there and he just about collapsed. The other thing that Pat Riley said in there that was interesting, he says that no one with the Heat organization knew that pep rally was going to be what it was, because they had to do all the accounting and stuff to get under the salary cap and do the sign and trade stuff in order to get these guys in and get them signed to contracts. So Riley said that at this pep rally, LeBron and Wade and Bosh, they signed their contracts in the uniforms. So while Riley and Arison and all those guys are doing all this stuff and getting it ready, little do they know what's being planned. And so Pat Riley says, all right, we got the contract signed. Let's go down for the press conference. Was it a press conference? It was 18,000 people in the arena, and it was pyrotechnics, and it was all of this. Because I can tell you something, after living 4 years in Miami, everybody's always ready to throw a party. Pat Riley, old no-nonsense cats up there like, yeah, we going to get you straight. We getting these contracts ready. Now we going to go tell the world. Somebody else is like, Pat said we supposed to throw a party. Which one of y'all know the pyrotechnic man? And so all of that just happened. And I'm thinking, if you're LeBron, can you imagine, after you've seen how badly all this other stuff has gone, can you imagine what happens when you get to the arena and you find out, oh, no, actually, we're going to make this even worse for you. Yeah. Everybody thinks that you think you too hot and all of this. Well, watch this. Here's some gasoline. Gasolina, perhaps. Whew. Threw that out there. Like, in 48 hours, you went from everybody loving you to everybody hating you. Just like that.
The thing about it was, though, is that they played it up. Not one.
Yes.
Two.
Yes.
Three.
Yes.
It's like, all right,
did.
Let's just keep counting.
And then it got worse.
Yeah.
And then it got worse. You know why? Because it's 18,000 people there, and they're telling you how dope and how amazing this is. And in the end, LeBron is excited about this. You playing with your boys, and they're all really good and everything else. Oh, man. I guess I felt like when I read that thing, especially when Riley talked about LeBron getting off the plane and like slumping into his arms, I don't think that very much has really been thought about how exhausting that had to be LeBron in the middle of it. Like, even if you think the things that happened were self-inflicted, can you imagine thinking that you had just pulled off the greatest idea that you had ever had? And then it turns out, actually, that might have been the worst idea that you ever had. And I would have made the same mistake. Because I was like, hey, man, people will get over it. Gabe, how long did it take him to get over it? 4 years?
Are people over it?
I think he went back to Cleveland. And when he went back to Cleveland, they got over-ish. Is that maybe the best way to put it? They got, like, over-ish. Like, I feel like the people that hate LeBron now are not hating him because of the Miami stuff. It's because of their loyal dedication to St. Michael and St. Kobe. That makes it impossible for them to appreciate like what the full LeBron situation is that's the direction that they're going in. But I think he shook the Miami off. But man, it took him a long time. The satisfaction that people had when LeBron lost that series to the Mavericks, they loved it. And that's when LeBron gave us the greatest quote of all time. They'll have to go back to their lives and I'll go back to my life. And all these people jumped up. You saying I'm broke? You know, the only people who jumped up in that moment and responded with, you saying I'm broke? That's right. Broke people. He never say nothing about your pockets. Never said a word about you being broke. They asked that man, what about people who root for you to fail? And he's like, all right, they'll live the lives that they live. I'll live the life that I live. How could you be mad at that? Right? How could you ever be? That's how mad people were at LeBron. If you ever get a chance, go look up that transcript of the questions that LeBron got that night after Game 6. It was body punch after body punch after body punch. And that was the culmination of what had to be the most stressful year that any like NBA basketball player has ever had. And it is also the greatest year maybe for the history of the NBA. Because everything we have as of now really centers around what a big deal LeBron James is. And we didn't fully get the big deal he was until he went and messed everything up for himself. And 8 years later, we're still paying attention like we always did.
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, Bomani, story number 1 comes from the music industry.
Hey, I'm Kevin Lozano, and I'm a writer and editor for Pitchfork. Over the weekend, I reviewed Drake's newest song, Nice for What. It came out late Friday night during peak club hours, and it's the kind of song that's perfectly designed for a good time. Its production is crisp and super fun, balancing this really infectious New Orleans-bound sound with a sample from Lauryn Hill's song X Factor. Notably, it also includes help from New Orleans rapper Big Freedia, who was featured in Beyonce's Formation. Nice for What is immediately gratifying, which recent, maybe mopier Drake songs have not exactly been. Part of that fun comes from its video, which might be even better than the song. It's this star-studded affair that shows all these powerful and awesome women like Issa Rae, Tiffany Haddish, Tracee Ellis Ross, and a lot more enjoying life and running the world. Nice for What is probably Drake's best song in a while, and don't be surprised if you hear it at parties from now until the end of the year.
Well, there's a level he missed there, right? And the level is he referred to them as powerful women, but it's powerful black women. Like that's the big thing here. So here's what Drake did, and I find this to be fascinating and no beef with him, right? That Cardi B album came out, and it is jamming, right? Cardi B, like, this is one of the more unlikely phenomena that we've had pop up here. That Cardi B album came out, it is jamming, and for a lot of women, it's absolutely an affirmational record in the vein of Lil' Kim's Hardcore in 1996. It is also, this Cardi B record is one of those where I'll be right here with you. If that's your jam, so am I. Like, that's how I feel about that Lil' Kim album. I meet a woman that's like, yo, I love Lil' Kim Hardcore when I was in high school. Oh, baby, you gonna love me. Anyway, that's going on all day Friday. And then Drake that night drops this joint that is just a great big old black women are dope. That's like the message that he's giving. Y'all are dope, and you don't have to be nice to these cats for any reason. You know, you can walk around like you the ish. You get to do that. He dropped that, and I just, like, I heard it. One, I was like, okay, A, the song is jamming. And B, I was just like, nothing's going to stop this record. Nothing in the world is going to stop this record because women are going to love this. And as it works, once women love it, dudes might hate for a little while till they drop that jam at the club and you right there. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, that's my song. Like I remember, I don't know if you remember that My Neck, My Back song. That My Neck, My Back song was awful. I heard it at the club one time and I was like, wow, this is an affirmation of women and their ability to assert themselves. And I'd like to assert them right back. There's a better song than that, right? Like, I want to be clear about that. But Drake just went out there and wrote it perfectly. Everybody's in a certain vibe right now. Well, watch what I'm going to drop on top of that. And it jams, in spite of the fact that I still don't really like this guy. And I find that when he does things like this, they are actually pandering in a way that belied the themes about women and the rest of his music. But for today, you ain't got to be nice. But I guess Drake is nice to you every now and then, and maybe that's all it takes. I don't know.
Story number 2 of the day also comes from the music industry, Bomani.
Andy Herman from Rolling Stone here. I recently did a story about the Blurred Lines copyright infringement case in which the family of Marvin Gaye won a huge settlement against Robin Thicke and Pharrell for stealing Marvin Gaye's song Got to Give It Up, or stealing elements of it in their song Blurred Lines. It was a very controversial decision. The jury verdict came out in 2015, so you may wonder why do a story about it now. And there are really 2 reasons. One, the verdict was actually just upheld last month by an appeals court. And 2, in the 3 years since the verdict was handed down, it's already had an impact on how the music industry does business in terms of protecting itself against potential copyright infringement cases, because according to a lot of people I spoke to in the industry, attorneys, musicologists, songwriters, there's a lot of confusion now over what constitutes copyright infringement versus simply being inspired by the style or groove of a previous song.
So I think there are 2 levels of this that are interesting. Level 1 is what my man's talking about right there, obviously. Nobody knows what's safe. Like, it's always been fair game that you can do a song that sounds like somebody had done it before. In fact, there's a term for these. It's called a pastiche. For an example, Queen's crazy little thing called Love is like an Elvis Presley pastiche. Like, it's intended to sound like an Elvis Presley song. I would say D'Angelo's Untitled How Does It Feel is a Prince pastiche. It's intended to sound like a Prince song. This is a way of paying homage that people have used for a very, very, very long time. I am not exactly sure how the Marvin Gaye people decided that this, of all the songs that may sound like Marvin Gaye songs, is the one that you decided to sue about. And what musicologists said that really scared them about this is, like, there are no 2 notes, like, the melody is not taken. There are cowbells in it, but do you get to copyright the notion of using the cowbells, right? Like, it's all these things. It's not really a similar song. It just feels similar, and that held up through the courts. So what is the role that influence gets to play anymore? And that, like, for me is a bit, like, disheartening and disappointing, because you never know who's going to be able to sell. I mean, who's going to be able to sue, and who's always going to be able to sue, obviously, is the people with all the bread. And so these people on top, how many of them are just going to go down and house the younger generations they expire and basically run their pockets for a percentage of their earnings? Because it's almost impossible to avoid incorporating your influences into the music that you have. That's one level that's interesting. The other level that's interesting, Robin Thicke was on top of the world when Blurred Lines came out. You remember that? Blurred Lines was in the Target commercial. Blurred Lines was everywhere. It's been nothing but downhill for Robin Thicke since the Blurred Lines thing got going. You think about that. That video came out, and people were calling him all varieties of misogynist for that video coming out. He was doing them award show presentations and looking ridiculous because he was always in that awkward place of the white dude doing soul music, and then he's at the award show dancing with Miley Cyrus, and black people looking up like, oh, for real, that's what it is? You get back around your regular friends, and now you act like you don't know us. Oh, okay. Then, remember, his woman left him, because apparently he had been out there cheating, and then that fool got that bright idea that he was going to do an album that was titled Her Name. All this begging to take me back sort of stuff that felt like borderline stalking and an amazing level of public manipulation. Everything went downhill since the song that we thought was the one that really made Robin Thicke's career. Oh, and then, of course, he ain't even really getting the money. Like, if you gave Robin Thicke the chance, do you think that he does Blurred Lines if he knows how it's going to go? Does he do that song again?
No.
No, that's got to hurt. And, by the way, lost his father a couple years ago. Yeah, it's been a lot. Ooh, let's hurry up and go to the next one.
Story number 3 comes from the tech industry.
Hi, I'm April Glazer, and I am a journalist at Slate covering tech, and I wrote about the questions that Congress needs to ask Mark Zuckerberg this week as he heads into 2 hearings, one in the House and one in the Senate on Tuesday and Wednesday. I really hope that Congress asks Mark Zuckerberg why Facebook shouldn't be regulated. There are certain data minimization regulations that could be put in place, or just general privacy regulations that should be put in place around, whether Facebook collects data on you as you travel throughout the internet. Do they really need to know every site you visit in order to target ads to you in a fine-tuned way? I also hope that Congress asks Mark Zuckerberg about, how he's really taking steps and how his company is taking steps to ensure that the integrity of our elections are intact, because we depend on Facebook to get information. Sure, Facebook isn't a media company, as they like to say, but they are how we get information, which is kind of what media companies do. And if they're going to be that kind of liaison, then they do bear a level of responsibility for making sure that that, you know, we are informed in a trusted way and we're not getting informed with fake and bogus news that kind of is dressed in the same way that real news is. I also hope that Congress probes Zuckerberg for his company culture. It appears, according to multiple reports, that they knew about how porous their data sharing policies were for so many years and decided not to do anything about it. And they knew that having data in the wrong hands, our personal data, could have pernicious effects in ways that we might not even be able to really imagine. You know, that could kind of broach some civil rights concerns, and Facebook needs to be accountable for that.
Yeah, Facebook. You know, I was thinking as I listened to that, and this is, I think, something that I don't know if this Zuckerberg has really done this math and appreciated this. He has a brand that is very recognizable. Like Facebook is a ubiquitous brand in 2018. But do you know anybody that feels good about Facebook? You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I love Facebook. Like, there are people who love Twitter, right? I am one of those people who used to love it before it got to be hard on my blood pressure. There are still people, though, who, like, they love Twitter. Like, they feel an attachment to the platform in that way. I can't think of anybody that, like, loves Facebook. Like, Facebook now, in a lot of ways, I feel like Facebook is like cigarettes in the sense that people use Facebook because they used to use Facebook. Like, that's the reason why they did it. They've been doing it for so long that they continue to do it. It's kind of structured in their lives in that way. But nobody loves Facebook. Nobody's like, wow, Facebook's been, you know, it's just so great going on Facebook these days, right? And so nobody loves it. And what that means is when he's sitting there in front of Congress, who's got his back? All right, like who are his allies when he gets there? Because I don't feel like you're doing anything for your constituents if you're a congressman and you are the person in Congress that appears to be like the friend of Facebook. I'm sure they got some people they've thrown some money to and stuff like that, but there is a great incentive if you are a congressperson to get up there and just light him up. Because he's the gatekeeper of all our information in this era where people are so totally afraid of privacy and everything else. And so Zuckerberg has written out this all shucks CEO thing for a long time. I'm just trying to make the world a better place, and we just want to connect people. And I guess I was a little naive to think of all the terrible things that people could maybe do with this, And now what's happened is people slowly realize, this is something that people said for a long time about the internet, and they're right. If you don't have to pay for the product, you are the product, and we're all the product to Facebook because everybody's on it. Like, that's the great advantage of it that they have is everybody's on it. The reason that as much people say they want to take their Facebook page down and everything, a lot of them will. But in the end, the advantage of it is that everybody's on it. But that's not something you feel good about, right? Like, nobody's going there because they feel good about the platform. This sounds like a great idea, but you got to give people something to feel good about from your company. And what he gave people to feel good about from the company is the idea that he was making the world a better place. And now it seems to be fair to ask the question whether they are destroying the world. And those are the questions that I think a whole lot of people are going to stick from him. And he doesn't have any of those answers. After all these years, they are still not prepared for somebody being like, hey, guy, this stuff you're doing doesn't sound like a science fiction movie to you? No, of course not. It sounds like a heartwarming tale. My heart ain't warm. My heart ain't warm. Hey, this is Bomani. You have reached the right time voicemail. Say whatever you want. Get creative with it. But this is your place to talk back to the show. So talk back. Peace. This week on the Talk Back, we gave you guys a magical, wonderful opportunity, some advice in your life that you could get advice, but the advice would not come from me. The advice would come from my man, DJ Mike Hitman. Mike, what's going on?
What's going on, Bo? It's good to have you back on the air, man. I'm going to tell you something, Bo. My dinner going to be good and my dessert. Without you, it was miserable, man, in Chicago. Miserable.
We back, though, man. We back.
I know. The food is good. Everything's seasoned just right.
It's a beautiful day, man. It is a beautiful day. All right, now, Mike, we got 3 people here that are calling in to get advice from you with all of your wisdom. Gabe, who we got up first?
All right, the first question we have is from a Nipsey in Chicago. Here it is.
Hey, Bomani and Mike. I need advice. This is Nipsey. I am calling from Chicago. I have a best friend, and we have been best friends since high school, and we have been out of high school for over 20 plus years. My best friend is in a loving relationship of over 10 years, and I'm very close with, obviously, her boyfriend. So I am out to dinner with my boyfriend on Friday night, nice romantic restaurant, and I look over at the back table, and I see my girlfriend's or my best friend's boyfriend back there, and he's with another young lady at this romantic restaurant. We're sitting very close together. So I lay back and, continue to enjoy my meal, decided to keep my eye on him. And halfway through the meal, I see that they're kissing, nothing crazy, but still obviously romantically involved. They finish their meal, get up, his arm is around her waist, they walk out. My question to you is, do I tell my best friend about exactly what happened with her boyfriend? And if I decide to tell her, or if I decide not to tell her, what are the consequences of both?
Ooh, Mike, what you got?
Let me say this. She out seeing somebody, and she saw something she shouldn't, and she don't want to tell her best friend. You know what you do, young lady? You don't tell her. You let her find out for herself. But then you're going to mess up your relationship with your best friend. But then she could say you're lying. You could be jealous. So the best thing for you to do, keep your mouth shut, stay with your boyfriend, and run your relationship, and let her find out what she needs to do about her relationship. If you start talking in Chicago, you know what they call it, and man, your own business, let her friend find out for herself. Even though y'all best friend, if you saw something, it's best just to keep your mouth shut.
Mike, you ever had anybody come and tell on you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm surprised she didn't call. And you're in Chicago. Once you start telling, everybody going to know who you are.
Lasandra Johnson, that's the one that made you jump out the window, right?
Oh, yeah, both. I jumped out the second floor window. Every time it snow, I know when it's going to snow. I'm the Asher, the weatherman. I know when it's going to snow or rain.
All right, Gabe, who we got next for Mike?
Our second question didn't leave his name or where he's from, but he has an interesting story, so I thought I'd bring it out.
How's it going, Mr. Hitman? I go to a university that has a nationally ranked college basketball team, and now that the season's over, one of the players comes and plays pickup at the courts against the normal NCAA athletes. Now, I'm a tall guy, so I typically end up having to guard him, and man, it's impossible. So I gotta know, would it be rude or a little too far for me to kind of use my bows and stick them out a little bit and potentially jeopardize the future of our NCAA tournament hopes? Because I really think this guy needs the business.
What you got, Mike?
Well, he got a future there. Best thing for you to do, become his friend and be his best friend. Do whatever you can to be on his payroll. Don't jeopardize something that's good, because you don't know where he might take you. It's best to be his friend. Carry his book bag if you have to. Walk around with him. Introduce him to some people. And you never know. You might get some benefit. You might get paid in the game. So be his friend. That's the best advice I would give you.
Mike thinking that long game. All right. One more game.
Yeah, number 3 also didn't leave their name or where they were from. So please do that from now on so we can give you a shout out on the podcast. Here's number 3.
Man, I need some advice from DJ Mike Hitman. I stay losing stuff, bruh. I mean, I lose stuff every day. My keys, my wallet. I'm losing my mind, man. I need you to help me out. Give me some advice to keep me from losing stuff every single day, man. I'm stuck at the house right now because I can't find my wallet, and I can't go out and talk to these honeys.
That young man need a woman that hold your wallet, that keep your keys, keep everything in order. Every other day she can come to the house and make sure you got this and got that. And also make sure she has benefits. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you're losing stuff, that means you need somebody else to help you out, young man. Find somebody you know, like a good young lady that you could trust, to come around and make sure everything is in order. Because right now, you're a lost soul. If you got a good friend, young lady, holding water, he knows who's going to spend what, he knows who's going to keep everything in place. Find you a good young lady. It could be your sister. It could be your mother. Get your mama to do it for you.
Mike, you're right, man. Before we let you go, man, what's up with your Celtics now that they don't have Kyrie?
Oh, let me say something. Without Kyrie, listen. Did we not pick the best coach in the basketball for the Celtics? Did he not take Butler almost to the championship by one shot miss? I have faith in this coach. He's a miracle. He can do anything. And most important thing, Bo, we got Neil Diamond. When it comes to the ball, they got Georgia Brown. It's going to cite those people, and those people are going to be lost. Those Celtics never fail.
You know LeBron go win the East, right?
Bo, he might not even get out the East. Bo, let me ask you something. Let me ask you this right quick. Won't it be easier if he lose to Toronto than lose to Boston? Oh, if he lose to Boston, do you know what it was say? He lost to Boston without Kyrie or to Gordon Hayward. It would be easy if he go ahead and lose to Toronto. Then he ain't got nothing to say. The best team in the record. But if he lose to Boston, I can't wait. Come on, LeBron, win this series before we can beat you and eliminate you. And I got something, Bo. My coach is going to prove something to y'all. Don't count Celtics out. Because we got that lucky Irish. Have a good one, Bo.
All right, Mike. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. That is DJ Mike Hitman. We'll let you guys know soon what the question is going to be next week for you to leave your voicemails on. And thank you for joining us here on The Right Time. Remember to check out the articles we had. And if you haven't heard, a review of Drake's Nice for What by Kevin Lozano of Pitchfork. The Blurred Line legal dispute. Check out Andy Herman of Rolling Stone and his story about that. And the questions that somebody needs to ask Mark Zuckerberg in Congress. April Glazer of Slate. Check out her article on that one. We will be back for you on Thursday. Remember to subscribe to The Right Time Podcast, the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And don't forget, please rate us, review us, tell people how wonderful we are. That's the way people will know how wonderful we are. We appreciate your help there. All right, Gabe Passade is on production here. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.
Thanks for checking out The Right Time with Bomani Jones podcast.
You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Right Time
with Bomani Jones.